every so often a product is released which is a game changer, and for me these two are one of those type of tools. No more struggling to drill holes in metal, pushing and grinding and trying to get the drill through. These hole saws, these style of hole saws, melt their way through sheet metal in a matter of seconds, and I wanted to do a bit of a battle between these two because Starrett are obviously a very well-known brand when it comes to hole saws. Armeg, very well-known drill bit manufacturer, and I've used both of these in the past, but I've never put them head to head to see who comes out on top in terms of speed and ease of use, and just a direct comparison between the two products. Now these two sets are pretty similar, so they're a 3-piece set each. The Armeg set, you have the 32mm, the 25mm and the 20mm, and in the Starrett set here, if I get it open, it does have lovely packaging, I must say. So in here, and it has a nice case, we've got exactly the same. So we've got a 32, a 25 and a 20. So in terms of the actual contents of these kits, you've got exactly the same drills, but I want to just put them side by side, show you what the differences are, what the similarities are, and then do a little bit of a test to see which one will drill through metal the fastest, the coolest maybe, and stuff like that. So these sets, both available, links in the description. They are slightly different price wise, so interesting to note that, and then we'll see which one comes out on top in terms of quality versus price. So looking at these directly, obviously these are both a 32mm drill. The depth of the Starrett one is more than the depth of the Armeg one, so that's an interesting first observation there. Slightly deeper. They've both got this beveled bit at the back, and the great thing about that is it avoids you slipping through and going all the way through the hole into whatever you're drilling, which you don't really want to do if you're drilling into the bottom of a consumer unit with a bus bar. You don't want to risk damaging the bus bar or anything like that. So that's a great feature of these. The other great feature is the spring inside. You've got this spring, which means that when you drill something, it pops the little bit of metal that you cut out, it pops it out so it doesn't get stuck in here, because if you remember with those old school long hole saws, they were a nightmare to get the little bit of metal out, and you'd end up having to like put a screwdriver in trying to lever it out all the time, which is a real faff. In terms of the thickness of the cutting blade, I would say that the Armeg one is actually thicker metal than the Starrett one. And interestingly as well, if you look at the blades of the Starrett one are kind of flayed out slightly more. You've got sort of one flayed out, one flayed in, whereas the Armeg ones are all pretty uniform. They don't flay out or flay in, they're just where they are, essentially. The spring on the Armeg one is slightly wider than the spring on the Starrett one, which is pretty narrow. Now what I have found with the Armeg ones is that the springs do tend to get damaged after a while and pop off. So that's something to note, and let me know in the comments if you've experienced that. I'd love to know all your thoughts about these two products in the comments. By the way, hit the thumbs up if you haven't done so already. It really does help the channel to grow, and if you haven't subscribed yet, do think about doing that. It is free and it helps us to produce more videos for you guys. So the shaft length is pretty much the same. The Starrett one slightly longer than the Armeg one. They both got this little hex key, little Allen key, to be able to detach the drill bit from the pilot bit. Interestingly, the Starrett set doesn't seem to come with an Allen key. So you will need to provide an Allen key, whereas the Armeg set does come with an Allen key. They both use the same size Allen key. And the other nice thing about the Armeg set is that it does come with a spare pilot bit, which is quite generous of them, whereas the Starrett set doesn't. It also comes with one of these spare grub screws, so that's a nice little feature too. So a few little added extras in there that you don't get with the Starrett set. Other than that, not a lot of differences. The interesting thing, I suppose, about the shaft, the pilot bit of the Starrett, is that it screws into the Holesaw like that, whereas the Armeg one, it goes through the Holesaw. So the base of the Holesaw is actually joined to the Holesaw itself, and you have to just undo this little grub screw, and then you can loosen that up, pull that out. In fact, I think you do it that way, and then it stops the spring from popping off. So you do it like that, and then that is the pilot bit. So you can see, if we compare the two pilots side by side, different design. Obviously this one is holding this pilot bit in place, so if you were to undo this grub screw here, then what you'll find is that this pilot bit will come out. The spring is kind of attached to the pilot bit. I don't know if it's actually welded on or if it's just wrapped around it, but it's pretty tight. You can't really easily take it off anyway. The pilot bit on these does look to be really nice quality, and the build quality in general is very, very nice, but just a slightly different design. So anyway, we'll tighten this back up, and then we'll screw our Holesaw back on. Obviously what that means is that you can replace the Holesaw and then keep the pilot bit if the pilot bit is okay. And I presume that these are all interchangeable, so that would be interesting to see actually. Yeah, it looks like it's the same thread size, so we can actually swap between, and they will all fit. I think they're the same length as well. Yeah, so it's a standard pilot bit there, which is interesting to note. So now what I'm going to do is just do a test on these, put them through their paces. We'll get this Armeg one back together. Just drill them one at a time and see which one comes out. Well, I'll just give you my honest thoughts about them. Same size for both. We'll use the 32 as that's the biggest. Which one shall we start with? Let me see. I think we'll start with the Armeg one. And as a test, what we're going to do is use this metal back box, and I'll just drill a hole in the back of these. These two metal back boxes are exactly the same. It's just sheet steel, which is exactly what these Holesaws are designed to actually cut. What I'll do is get my little mat to protect this table, stop me from getting hot shards of metal embedded into the table. And of course I need to put my safety glasses on, which I have done. So here we go. So this right hand side one is going to be the Armeg, and then the left hand side will be the Starrett, and we'll just get a timer up on the screen. 3, 2, 1. Done. That was quick. First impressions, very nice smooth hull, no shards, no sharp edges. This is a little bit hot. It popped out, so it didn't get stuck in here, which is good, and there's virtually no damage to the Holesaw. So now let's try with the Starrett one. Exactly the same test. 3, 2, 1. Okay, that's more difficult actually, and the spring has come off, which is not good. Okay, That was a lot different. I was not expecting that. So one thing I noticed, a lot of hot metal shards came off this onto my hand compared to the Armeg one, which I didn't feel any hot metal shards coming off at all. So that is a massive difference. Also, it took longer, and the overall cut is not as nice. Do you see that? It popped out the two knockouts because I had to put a lot more pressure on it than I did with the Armeg one, and just overall not very impressed with that really, which I'm surprised by because I have used these in the past and I thought they were good, but doing a side-by-side comparison, you see, is very valuable because you can really feel the difference between the two, and the Armeg is absolutely by far the best in that particular test. So yeah, very, very interesting. So what I'll do now, I'll swap out these two. I mean, the fact that the screw came off as well, that the spring came off, that's not really great. I can just pop it back on and that's okay, but I'll put that back in its case now, and we'll do another test with the 20mm version. And we'll just go in the top here like this, and we'll do it so that we're drilling a pilot hole as well, so that we've got a good feel for how good the pilot bit is. I'm just going to put a glove on one hand, and then on the other hand I'm going to use a cloth just to grip this workpiece with, just to avoid hurting myself, because if it spins back that will protect my hands. So we're going to go in here like that, we're going to drill a pilot hole, and then it's going to go all the way through the back box. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Again, it went through very easily. It did get very hot, but a nice clean hole, and the spring has done exactly what it's supposed to do, popped out the little bit there, and overall a very good result, I would say. Let's try with the Starrett one. Pilot bit, and then drill a hole through the metal. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So again, lots more shards of metal on my hand. The pilot bit for me seemed to take longer to go through than the Armeg one, which I'm surprised by, to be honest. I thought the Starrett pilot bit would actually be better than the Armeg one, but I feel like it wasn't. But we'll see from the timings exactly what was the case. It's got a nice clean hole, but it's not as clean as the Armeg one. So if you look at the two, here we've got some little shards of metal there that came out. And again, if you look at this, the bit that's popped out, it's not gone all the way through, whereas this one has got a lot less of a bevel surrounding it. And I think the reason for that is because these blades are more flayed in and out, whereas the Armeg ones, as I mentioned, are all the same. However, something interesting to note, one of the teeth has broken off the Armeg one already. Now bear in mind, these are brand new. I wouldn't really expect to be having a tooth break off already. So that is not brilliant. Pilot bit on the Armeg is in very good condition still. No damage. Let's have a look at the pilot bit on the Starrett one. So the pilot bit on the Starrett one looks in good condition as well. No damage. The teeth look a little bit worn, but none of them have broken off at least, so that's good. Starrett one is in good condition still, and everything seems to be fairly as we would expect it. So I think I'm just going to go and do one more test on these, which would be with the 25. While we're at it, might as well go the whole hog, right? So we'll get the 25s now, and we'll do exactly the same thing. This time I'll try and show you a side view so that you can see it cutting through the metal from the side. I'm going to go slower this time. Okay, we've gone through. It did get cut. It did get caught on the little on the lug of the box there, but I think that's kind of normal. It's not really designed to cut through lugs on back boxes. It's probably a bad test for me to do, really. I should probably be doing a test on something that you're more likely to drill through, like a consumer unit case or something. In fact, that's a really good idea. I do have a consumer unit here that somebody sent me, and I am going to try it on that. But let's just do a test then again with this. It'll be more of a fair test. I'll go on full speed and I'll drill through this consumer unit. 3, 2, 1. Okay, that was a bit better, I would say. Now the little metal bit has not popped out, which is slightly annoying, so we'll leave that out. It came out fairly easily, and the hole that we've drilled is fairly nice and smooth, so pretty happy with that, to be honest. So let's try the Armeg one now. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I felt like that was slower with the Armeg this time. The pilot bit did pop the little metal piece out though, which is good. And if we compare the two side by side, see the two holes here. I would say that they're pretty similar, actually. They're both pretty clean cuts. The Armeg one's maybe slightly worse than the Starrett one in this situation. You can see the red has rubbed off there. They are not far off from one another, let's just say that. I wonder, after 100 holes, which one will be sharper. Now, I know that there are some of you probably watching this who use these day in and day out, and you'd probably be able to tell me the answer to that question. So let me know all your thoughts in the comments section below. I would love to hear which you think are the best. So I'm going to go with my gut on this and say that I prefer the Armeg. I have used the Armeg more, to be honest, and I can say that I trust these. I have used these a lot, obviously not this set, but in the past I've used these a lot, and I have been very happy with them. The Starrett ones, I did find in the past when I used them that the teeth broke off more quickly, or the teeth got worn out more quickly than the Armeg ones, and I think that's just because the metal is slightly thinner on the Starrett one, and also because the teeth are flayed in and out, they're more likely to get caught on stuff, whereas the Armeg ones just feel that bit more solid. Obviously as well, you've got the fact that this part is deeper and therefore the metal is more likely to flex, possibly. But that is just my personal opinion, and I would love to know all your thoughts in the comments below. Which do you prefer, or do you have another solution which is even better? All of your comments below would be awesome to hear about, and if you do have any suggested tools that you'd love for us to review, please let us know in the comments, because we're always trying to review new tools tools that you guys think are great or that you would like to learn more about. And of course, if you do hit the thumbs up button, you get a little reward. We'll send you some of these in the post. No, only joking, but it does really help the channel to grow. And if you subscribe, it's free, then you get regular video updates from us if you tap that notification bell. But either way, guys, thanks so much for watching and have a great day.